Why, hello, everybody.
Oh, I was gonna try and steal it this week. Damn it.
You got to get up pretty early in the morning to get one over on
I
a dad.
was. Yeah, well, fine.
That's how it goes. Dun, 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 dun.
Welcome to Roll for Beer.
Indeed. A Legends of Logomancy podcast.
Oh.
Mm. How's
Good.
things?
How
How's
are
your
you,
day?
my friend? It's been a bit busy. I've been dealing with silly beer stuff that you deal with at the beginning of every year.
Mhm. It's one of those things.
One of those things. One of
That's a
those
very polite
things.
way to put it.
Yes, it's well, we're just dealing with the uh old beer stock kind of thing like that. And we call it at risk. Basically, if something is at risk of expiring or expired, we deal with it.
That was like CDC stuff. I used to work at a
Yeah.
convenience store in college, and 3 days before everything expired, it had to be pulled off the shelves and stuff.
Or
And
discounted.
so work well, so working at this place, every day you'd fill up a milk crate with sandwiches that were going to expire 3 days from now and take them home and feed them to your college roommates. You eat them
Yup.
fast. I
Yup.
I didn't pay for food for like 2 years. It was great.
Yeah,
Great.
that's it's amazing. It's amazing when that kind of thing happens. But
I
anyway.
mean, I lived off of convenience store sandwiches and salads and stuff, but, that's
I
kind of
mean,
telling.
salt later on, all that kind of
All of that jazz.
Yeah.
That being said, I am very thirsty.
Are you thirsty?
I am very thirsty.
Well, I mean, there's only one thing to do then.
Roll for
For
beer.
beer. Ah! I lost my die.
I got a 1.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a 1.
All right. My 1. Oh, am I going left to right or right to left?
You were going to go. I didn't really see everything over there. Left to right.
Left to right.
Ooh, that is a zero issue blonde beer, I believe.
This is a zero issue blonde. This is called Bywater, a blonde ale from Zero Issue Brewing. The
Ooh,
artist on the can is Ian Nicholas. We're looking at a 4.7% blonde ale.
ooh.
Can art is suitably bitchin'. It shows somebody on a walkabout with a big old backpack that sings to my heart. We're
Hmm.
gonna see if the blonde beer sings to my heart. What do you got?
I have Muskoka Brewing out of Ontario, uh, hazed and confused juicy IPA.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I decided to go for a theme tonight. Oh, hi, Bass. How are you?
I bast.
Yeah, okay, good. She just meowed at me. I don't know if I picked up on camera, but uh camera micro God.
It's been a time.
It's one of those days today. Anyway, I decided to go with a theme tonight. My theme tonight was Ontario breweries.
I like it.
Yeah, but hazed and confused, juicy IPA.
Like you do.
And three, two,
Well,
1.
ah, I'm not editing that out for the podcast.
No. I'm the one who's editing the podcast, but whatever.
You heard it here first.
Don't belittle my work.
I won't. Take your dice out of the glass before you pour it this
I
time.
did this time. I did.
All right.
That's a callback to a lot to the previous episode. If you haven't heard it, please do check it out.
We're, you know, 2 is 1 and 1 is none, and we're making appropriate use of our tools here. If a tool can't pull double duty, it doesn't deserve to be on your podcast. So if I can't roll dice into the mug I'm going to drink from tonight, it's not a mug I'm going to drink from.
Exactly.
All right. I have
Hmm.
Riley.
Hmm.
I can
Hmm.
see through my beer as I pour it.
Yes, that is called a blonde.
Okay.
That is called a blonde.
It's called having a mustache.
But no, Bywater, easy drinking blonde,
Mhm.
super just like this is patio beer, super easy drinking. Bam.
I think it needs to be a little colder than, 17 degrees, to
Yeah,
be yeah,
I would say about 15. Oh
yeah.
god. Cicerone beer server is failing me. I'm going to say 14, 13.
It's interesting to me that some beers, try and differentiate themselves by how cold their beer is compared to other people.
That is such a marketing bullshit thing.
"We have the coldest beers
I
around.
the
Look at
the
the
the fact
mountains up here."
I oh god, the mountain appearing. Oh god. That I wasn't ready for that topic, but no, that is a bad marketing in beer. That is going to be a, a whole other kind of thing we're going to talk about one day. But I wanted to talk about something very positive. Even although my theme this evening has been Ontario beers, I
Mhm.
want to talk about a very specific, very near dear to my heart, my new home, Alberta beers,
I see.
and necessarily and more to be along the lines of the Alberta beer scene,
Mhm.
which is a I want to still say mostly fledgling market in the world.
What, 6 ish years of, like
Five 6 years of growth, I
yeah.
would say. Because we have our classics, we have our tool shed, we have
Mhm.
our village, we have our big rock.
Yep.
And Dandy's coming up to 8 years now.
Mm.
Or are they coming up to 10 years now? I can't remember. But anyway, we have breweries that are starting to, get to that 10-year mark, which is awesome. But we were not a very big craft brewery place for a very long time.
Mhm.
In fact, a little bit of the story is we couldn't have been until we had a bit of a government change a few years back. Um, we had some very silly rules when it came to brewing beer.
Yep.
Um, there was a tax on beer if it was brewed under a certain amount of hectoliters. I
Yes.
believe it was like 20 or 30 hectoliters. One hectoliter is about 100 liters of beer.
It's
Um,
for those using the metric system,
yes,
because that's what we do here. If you notice, right up here in the doobly doo,
doobly do.
yeah, it's one of those things. For the podcast, I'm pointing to our logo, which is literally a Canadian flag made
I
out
was
of a
pointing the
D20.
wrong direction. I have to
Nope,
point this way.
nope, you were pointing correctly the first time.
Did
It's
I?
okay. Yep, it is right here.
Wait, well, no, but you're pointing that way. Oh, yeah, no,
Uh,
okay, yeah, no, yep, I've orientated myself to the video now. I understand.
yep, it's a thing.
That's the thing. Visual comedy. Check us out on youtube.com to see our visual comedy. Anyway,
It's a thing.
but no,
So,
yeah,
because that
go.
that was a layover from the old moonshining laws, right? They
That's
didn't want people
correct.
making hooch in their backyard.
Yep.
You could get away with it if I recall, because I had my parents had some alcoholic Albertan friends,
Hmm.
and they made garbage can wine.
Yeah.
Like,
There, there is difference. There was a difference between production level, and if you were a manufacturer or if you were doing personal use.
yeah,
Um, for example, Tool Shed, very funny kind of story. They actually brewed their beer in BC, did not sell it in BC, and brought it across the borders to sell in Alberta
just to get away with it.
just to get away with it. And when you think about that, that's insane.
Was it? Would they have done it at a Revelstoke or Fernie
I
or like Golden?
maybe Golden, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know that they brewed their beer in BC,
Yeah.
and they brought it across into Alberta to sell. Big Rock got away with it by, I believe, just brewing basically just water.
Yeah.
They basically just threw barely anything into some batches to get away with just brewing their classics until they got enough money to be able to brew the beer that is Big Rock now,
Makes sense.
which is crazy to think about. Um,
I have a somewhat of a segue tangent on that
oh, yeah, yeah.
because Revelstoke and Golden and all of that.
Mm.
You ever had a Mount Bigby?
Yes, I have actually.
Yeah. We so my wife does not drink beer. She's not a beer person, right? Like occasionally a beer will come across, like those Medicine Hat Brewing Company vanilla blueberry ones that we tried. David was
Yeah.
like, they have no business tasting that good. Um, Mount Begbie does a tall timber, it's like a 5.5% caramel malt, like medium bodied ale.
Right.
And she's like, "This is the most delicious shit I've ever tasted."
Yeah.
Granted, she was drinking 10 of them at the time, but it's that that usually certainly helps. But yeah, Revelstoke brew some damn good beer.
They probably make one of the better Kolsch's that are available in the market.
Mhm.
I mean, that, to be honest, that's like one of the only ones I truly sell at my store.
Yeah.
But they've been around for a long time, and I know they do very well out in BC.
Is that
Um,
that, it's a blue can,
yep,
High Country?
High Country,
Yeah.
High Country Kolsch.
Mhm.
Um, I have a lot of very dedicated customers for that beer, who really enjoy that beer. And to be honest, Kolsch, damn good beer. One of
Mhm.
my favorite styles of beer. Really, really good.
They did they did one I tried, this is a long time ago. My friends took me to get poisoned in the woods for a bachelor
Mm.
party, and I had one. It had like a Scottish Terrier holding a claymore, looking like a Highlander.
Yes, that
And
is their Scottish ale.
it was a bit thick and chewy, but it was pretty
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
I say chewy. It's not legitimately chewy. It's just a descriptor for thick beer.
Yeah, well, you know what? I actually like the idea of using chewy. I like dank. I like um uh
Look,
hay
if I need a
horse.
knife and a fork to get through my beer, you're doing it right.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
I should not be able to differentiate the thick Scottish beer that I'm drinking from the steak and kidney pie in front of me.
So, the beer I'm trying tonight, by the way, sorry, slight side here. Um, eh, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm a little confused. Hence
Why?
the name, Hazed and Confused.
That's fair.
I want to say there is like a almost smoky taste to it, and I'm very confused.
That's Muskoka.
Muskoka, yeah,
Yeah.
Muskoka out of Muskoka, Ontario. Um, no, but Muskoka, I really haven't had too many of their beers, but I like I said, I'm trying to try out different breweries and things like that. But Alberta breweries,
Mhm.
the topic that I tried to start off with, they really started taking off about 5, 6 years ago,
Mhm.
when there was a big law change where basically they took that whole minimum hectoliter and they cut it. They got rid of that law. You
Okay.
could brew beers at any amount and you would not be taxed on on that. They
Hmm.
put in instead a law on if you brew over I think it was like if a batch is over 200, 300 hectoliters,
Yeah.
you are considered one of the big guys.
Yeah.
And they changed the tax bracket basically
Mhm.
on that. And so a lot of small guys started opening up. we went from about, I think it was 15 to 20 breweries in the province to 177 in 6 years.
Yeah, like you do.
That's insane. And now a lot of people are going to say, whoa, that's way too many breweries. There are going to be some breweries that come and go. It's an ebb and flow. It's we're going to have there are people waiting in the wings literally for some breweries to close so they
Mhm.
can buy their equipment.
Yeah. You know, I would love to uh try my hand at making beer sometime.
It's
It
fun.
I've never done it. I've made mead before. I've made wine before.
Yep.
You want a dank, terrible blackberry wine? You come see me. It's been a couple of years, but it's basically just basement hooch.
Yep. Yep. No,
I yeah.
basement hooch. No, it's really good though. Like there is some like fantastic products and but yeah, no, it's this ever growing and ever changing. So if you ever have a chance, come check out Alberta, come check out Calgary, come check out Edmonton. There are some amazing breweries. I mean, like we literally have a place called the Barley Belt here in Calgary that is about 10 breweries within walking distance of each other.
You know,
And
I
there's like three other areas like that.
I got a chance to tour Big Rock in
Hmm.
college,
Hmm.
um, specifically for, our logistics class because
Right.
it's an excuse to go to a brewery and drink beer
Yeah.
and hit the tasting rooms, but it's also like, here's what goes into it, here's how we order things, here's our supply chain management, and, like, all the little bits that I enjoy that are fiddly.
Yeah. And brewing is it's not necessarily it's an art and it's a science.
Yes.
Um very much so. Like it is how much what's the gravity of the beer? What's the what from that we can get the alcohol percentage. How do we get that alcohol percentage? What grains are we using?
Mhm.
What sugars do we get from those grains? The hops when you once you start dry hopping, that just throws the science out the fucking window. But that's besides the point.
Mhm.
But there's so many really cool things about beer and the science behind beer, and I'm gonna start geeking out if we don't start switching over to the D&D topic at some point here.
You know, I we called it, last episode, we were gonna chat about some VTTs tonight.
Oh, VTTs,
If you'd let me
virtual
get a word
tabletops.
within edgewise.
I have not been you bugger off. Uh,
Look, I deserve this because I'm constantly the one talking over you.
mm, that's not that bad. It's really not.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Vir Virtual tabletops, the pros and cons.
The pros and
The
cons.
pros and cons, not just VTTs, but digital play in general.
Yes.
Um, because there's a gripe I have with I'm gonna call it Wizards of the Coast, specifically.
Yes. Go ahead.
Um, and I'm gonna in a round of I'll get to my gripe, but
To get you okay. All
I'll
right.
get
All right.
I'll get to my gripping.
I'm just taking down the layers here. I'm getting down to
So
the gripe layer.
for the uninitiated, virtual tabletops are places that you can simulate a tabletop for not just things like Dungeons and Dragons, but for anything. Roll 20, for instance, has a good I'm gonna say like 2,000 different systems that you can do, including board games. And
2,000.
not just like TTRPGs, but like if you want to play Monopoly, Roll 20 has a thing where you can kind of like, here's your table. Do you need to roll some dice? Do you need cards? Do you need,
Well,
you know?
we'll burn that part the of roll 20. It's fine. It doesn't need to exist.
I I got a new game because I'm a Roll 20 reserve pro person. The
Right.
name escapes me, but it's called The Quiet Year, and it's like, here, play this board game. You can have
Wait,
it for free.
the quiet years on there?
Yeah, and and I have it. I pasted it
Oh,
in our Friday night game chat on Discord.
did you? Oh, I fucking love the quiet year. Oh, me and my friends played a game of that. That is an amazing thing.
Yep.
Oh my god, sorry.
Uses a deck of 52 playing cards and like scraps of paper, and you simulate post-apocalyptic communities prepping for the winter.
It's
And
amazing.
it looks really good. So, but Roll20 is really good for that. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just for D&D and GURPS and Pathfinder and stuff." And it's like it's really good for TTRPGs because you can front load a lot of stuff. And it's got uh PDF support, so you can just dump a PDF into it as resources, as long
Hmm,
as they're not too big. The downside of like working with old game books and stuff, like I've got a bunch of like old second edition scanned books and stuff that
right.
you can't just dump in because they're too big. You gotta piecemeal them up. Mm. But um, Roll 20, a lot of people that use Roll 20
Yes.
aren't using it to play a tabletop role playing game. They're using it to play card games and board games and stuff, right?
Oh, really?
I a good majority of their people that are using it for TTRPGs, but it's not the sole market.
Fair.
Um, there's another one. We got a copy of it given to us on our last fundraising bit called uh, Al- Alice is Missing. I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Alice is Missing. Not exactly a TTRPG. It's a game you play totally in silence using your phones. No, wait, no, I might be misremembering that one. I've got a handful of games downloaded for it. I It may not be Alice is Missing, but one of those.
Yeah.
Likewise, Fantasy Grounds. Fantasy Grounds is fucking great.
I played one game in Fantasy Grounds. I thought it was great. Until I realized that Pathfinder didn't have warlocks, but I mean that's a whole other thing.
So I use Fantasy Grounds specifically for exporting a map onto a TV that is built into a table. So Fantasy Grounds has a really simple, clean layout for just displaying a battle map
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
adding lighting and tokens and stuff.
Yes, and I remember seeing that, and it was wonderful. Like, I really liked it. I just nobody had all the books, so I
Well, and
had to type everything in.
that's just it. So for Fantasy Grounds, you don't it's not for the books. It's literally just for throwing a map up on a TV because the functionality of it works really, really well. My
Yeah,
biggest ask for Roll20 is like they're doing better about some stuff. I want a way to pop out a map into a secondary window, separate from the journal and the context menus, to
yeah.
just display on a window
Okay,
that
yeah, yeah.
that doesn't have anything else on it, so I can just like move tokens on a map, without having to put in an audience account and have a secondary browser open and stuff like it's you can do it, but it's a little cumbersome.
I
Whereas
mean,
Fantasy
s
Grounds has you covered.
we're streamers. We're obviously the top users for Roll20. I mean, we're obviously the people who need all of this stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I don't I use Roll20 like throughout the week, not just on our stream, but for other games and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and I don't need like three quarters of the stuff that's in it. I've got some macros programmed in that are really useful.
yeah.
I don't need any animated effects because that's not the kind of game that we really go for. If I could get away
Whoosh,
from
whoosh.
using, um, if I could get away from using Roll20 for displaying the majority of the time,
Yeah.
I'm good, right? The Roll20 is for when you are displaying a combat map, or if I want to share cool artwork and things like that, and for people to manage the character sheets. That's it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair.
So at the end of the day, do I need a reasonably like it's not expensive, but I pay a yearly subscription for it, and I have a bunch of digital copies of books that I've bought into it, and digital copies of board games and
Yes.
stuff. That I have the actual hardcover books of as well. Um, so it's kind of double dipping on some stuff, but um, there's a bunch of other VTTs that could probably situate us just as well for the stream,
Mhm.
but they have a learning curve, and they require a lot more effort than Roll 20 does. Roll 20
Yes.
is dead simple, right?
It
Fa-
really it is.
like Fantasy Grounds is good for mostly for doing displays and stuff, and you can add everything into it by hand. And there's a bunch of stuff that you can do with it. I'm not going to.
No.
Foundry is in that same vein of there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with Foundry.
Is Foundry the 3D one? I cannot remember because I
It
actually
Foundry is like Roll 20 on crack. It is.
okay.
It is. It will do everything that you code it to do. It has options for being completely web based. It has options for running a local server that your friends sign into just direct with IP. Um,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of good options for it.
Uh,
And
I am having a hard time remembering because I did get a VTT on um Steam. I
was
cannot
it
remember the
was it
name of it.
was it Tailspire?
I you know what? I think it was.
Yeah. Tailspire is the 3D one. Um, Tailspire is very pretty. Very
I
pretty.
yes, that is the one that I have, Tailspire. That is the one that I bought. And that and you know the other one I have?
Hmm.
I have Tabletop Simulator.
Yep. I also that was the next one on the list,
Oh,
actually.
I segued to that without even realizing it.
I segue your segue because I felt something poking me in my pocket, and it's a chunk of old man's beard from probably like 2 years ago when I last went winter camping in these pants. And it's just been sitting drying in my pocket. I've broken Riley's brain. Canada. It's it's Tinder. You can't buy this shit. Great.
I'm leaving that awkward silence in the podcast. I'm leaving that just dead silence. All you can hear is James's fridge and maybe Riley's heater.
Probably. Um, but yeah, Tailspire is the very pretty 3D modeling VTT that um if Chris Cow has his way, D&D will come to be the prime consumer of that kind of content, right?
Yeah.
They're not a huge fan of Tailspire,
No.
but th- therein lies my gripe, though. Um, when a new book comes out by Wizards of the Coast,
Yes.
I want that book, that physical book
Understandable.
in my hands, and I go to a fella down the street and I purchase that book. Sometimes I buy that book on Amazon, depending on the fella's supply, but I try and support our friendly local game store. They're not big on
Yes.
D&D, but they still bring in the product. The Wizards has had a tendency to push to their digital division lately, where
Yes, they have.
if you want a new book that's coming out, uh, what is it? Keys of the Golden Vault
Yes.
is coming out here soon. Um, I have a pre-ordered copy of that coming in. It's been sitting since like the summertime. I will get my book 20 days after all of the D&D Beyond people get it. And therein
What?
lies my gripe of your we're working in a community where friendly local game stores prop up and support the industry. The plethora of VTTs help also prop up that industry. people that use one specific service get early access to everything. And
That's not cool.
as a
That's
as a
not cool.
book player, one, I'm like, but I want my stuff now. And I get like there's no printing complications and there's no um shipping and delivery and stuff, and you can you can spout that kind of stuff all day, but at the end of the day, I want to play a thing with my friends, and uh I don't want to have to wait. I think it's unfair to show one sect of gamers preferential treatment over another.
I I really do not like that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like just you mentioning that it is like I'm going to use the equivalent of the pre-order bonus for video games when you get to play 3 days early. Looking at you, Diablo 4.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Like 3 days or early access stuff, if you pre-ordered like um a big ass bundle kit that came with a bunch of specialty slippers, right? And
Yeah,
crazy hats and bunny ears. 3 days is fine. A month? Go fuck yourself. Not
yeah.
not
That
okay with that.
that is actually gross.
The other, and here's the problematic part.
Hmm.
Um Physical books are challenging to sell
Yes.
in the world. Like the world at large. It doesn't matter if it's a game book or otherwise. And a lot of it is supported by marketing of here's our fancy new thing. Ooh, I want to see that. I want to get my hands on that.
Yeah.
And what this practice by Wizards has essentially done is it kneecaps their um physical like their physical distributors. Those
Yeah.
friendly local game stores that are contractually bound to not sell these books until a
Early.
specific date aren't selling those books barely at all,
Yeah.
specifically because people get it early. And as is the nature of our community, somebody goes through on YouTube and gives a big summary synopsis rundown of the book, right? Of yays or nays or whatever. Here's the good, here's the bad, here's the whatever.
Yeah.
And uh, it, through contract, basically goofs up those friendly local game stores
Because
because you,
somebody's gonna see that and they're gonna go, "Oh, my
yep,
favorite YouTuber really doesn't like spell oh my god,
Spelljammer,
Spelljammer. Thank you.
Spelljammer. And
They really don't like Spelljammer and they pointed out a lot of problems. I'm gonna cancel my pre-order."
and don't get me wrong, make good products. You should make good products.
Yes.
That
Sorry, that wasn't excusing
oh, no, yeah, yeah,
Spelljammer
yeah,
at all or anything like
yeah.
that.
It they oh, what's his name? Kyle Kyle Brink talked about that in an interview I shared in our Discord. He
Right.
was on three black kobolds, I think it was, or three black
Uh,
halflings. Yeah.
By the way, if you would like to subscribe to our Discord, it is available in our doobly doos on
Mhm.
our YouTube channel, Legends of Logomancy.
You know, I'm actually going to throw that into our chat.
Oh,
Uh, oh, they changed the way that that happens now. There we
by
go.
the
Oh,
way, three black halflings, absolutely wonderful group of people,
mhm.
and same with the other
It
groups that are around them.
it's a small channel, but I enjoy the content they put out.
Oh yeah, oh
Um,
yeah.
just kind of podcast discussion stuff about a little bit of everything, which
Yeah,
I always
and
like.
I mean, and they host some of my favorite D&D people. Emily
Mhm.
Axford, Brian Murphy, Caldwell Tanner,
Yeah,
and Jake Hurwitz, for my absolutely favorite D&D people.
you're
Who
not a NADPOD fan,
I'm not
not
an iPod
not
fan.
not in the
No,
slightest.
no, but no, I again, I get a lot of my kind of stuff from. No,
Yeah,
I don't get a lot of my stuff. I get inspiration from Nad.
yeah.
They're
But
great people.
so that therein lies the gripe is I am a physical hardcover book
Mhm.
player.
Yes.
I vehemently believe that you learn a system better and you get more ingrained in the system by reading the physical book end to end. Whereas here's the balance of digital versus tabletop game. Digital platforms like VTTs quickly enable you to play the game.
Yes.
They are detrimental in learning the rules of how to play that game because the
They
only
are.
rules that you learn are the rules that happen to come up in your 4-hour session, 3-hour session, whatever.
And I mean, we have discussed this before, how certain rules get missed or changed because of the language differences between VTT and the book.
Sometimes, yeah. Or
Yeah.
the interpretation of the DM that's running it for
Of the
you
DM. Yeah.
or whatever, right?
Whatever.
So the at the end of the day, um, I believe that the community is best served having access to a plethora of these VTTs.
Mhm.
Wizards backed off on their VTT policy. They're not going to have one anymore.
Which is a damn good thing, let's be honest with
Yeah,
that.
and the I don't check out that Kyle Brink interview, but essentially what they were going for wasn't so much the we don't like Roll 20, we don't like Foundry, we don't like a bunch of stuff. They really don't like Solasta, but that's a thing. The explanation that he had given was um meta, specifically companies that are building their own metaverses, unless they have a legal groundwork, nothing really prevents Facebook and Meta from taking their 3D virtual environment and then making basically a D&D clone, and then they don't have control over how it's represented and things.
Well, here's the thing I'm gonna say about meta.
They're gonna fuck it up anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Well,
yes.
and so he kinda touched on that, and he's like, "And but here's the thing, it's gonna be really bad, and we don't wanna have it attributed to us. I want a piece of paper that specifically says that this we didn't participate in this."
Um, but you know what? Virtual tabletops, and as good as they are and what they really represent and what they and truly what they brought us during the pandemic. Let's be totally honest here. It brought a lot of people back together, and it brought a lot of friends to be able to play games still together, which is a very important thing.
Yep.
But it has one very, very big flaw.
You don't get to physically hold those clickety clackety math rocks?
Clickety clackety math rocks.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, fuck you for sending me that song that I fucking hate and love at the same time because my brain goes, "Oh yeah, no, I don't like the way how they're singing this.
But I can't stop.
Goblin, 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 goblin."
So, for those that aren't, currently a part of our community, Mikey Mason is a, musician's YouTuber. He's got a bunch of stuff on Spotify. He's best known for things like It Was the Best Game Ever, She Don't Like Firefly. He's got songs about licking Henry Cavill from head to toe, Letterkenny, and most notably, a song called Shiny Math Rocks, sung from the point of view of goblins.
Yeah,
It's
and
really good.
it's definitely Pathfinder goblins.
Yeah,
It's
it's 100%
100%.
Pathfinder goblins.
Yeah.
But, like, we used a Roll20 before the pandemic.
Yep.
Um, it's a very useful tool for, "Oh, our friend is moving to another city. Looks like we don't have to change anything about our lifestyle or what we do."
Oh, you mean like when I moved to Alberta and I play with my absolutely lovely friends, Brienne, Madison, and Daniel. Guys, I love you.
Always a good time. Or, like, Ryan moved to the middle of buttfuck nowhere
I
and
mean, I
still
haven't
manages
met
to play with us.
yes, it's very true. When's he coming down again? I would like to actually meet him in person.
Supposed to be Christmas, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe in the summertime. But we'll go get him drunk in a field somewhere.
Sounds good.
It'd be a good time. But no, like they have their place. I love it. It's really easy, especially um like the different forum communities, like
Yes.
Roll 20. I'll harp on Roll 20 again, or like use it as an example again because it's the one that I use the majority of.
It's probably the one that even people who don't play D&D have maybe heard of.
Yeah. Um or well, Tabletop Simulator has a lot of users. Like Steam
Yes.
keeps throwing it at me to be like, "Hey, you guys like Wingspan. Have you tried Wingspan on a virtual tabletop where you can use your mouse to manually flip over the cards and manually move the pieces of the board game
I
and out of the box and out on the table?"
I have a, modded version of that one that is Pokemon. It's
Oh, yeah,
actually kind of adorable.
nice. But, like, Tabletop Simulator it is not anything proprietary. You can load anything you want into it.
100%.
I have a bunch of, like, Sorry and Monopoly and, like,
I
Parker
may
Brothers
have
things.
I may have played a game that involves a hammer of war,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
40,000 years.
I have used Tabletop Simulator to play D&D before. I
It's
because it worked.
actually kinda great.
Yeah. This was before I got into Roll20, but the
Yeah.
forums on Roll20 specifically for like, you know what? I've never played uh Thirsty Sword Lesbians. I have, but as an example. And I can go and find a group that's looking for group playing that system,
Yep.
schedule a night, join a call. It's got the video and audio built into it. The video and audio sucks balls. It's really really bad right now. It is the number one thing on the list to fix.
Honestly honestly, I think they should just partner with Discord at this point and just go, "Yeah,
So most there are plugins that you can get that pull in your Video Ninja or that pull in your Discord or Teams or whatever into Roll20, but they don't work great yet. And it's getting better. It's just that the majority of people that are using it are either using audio only through Discord, so it's not a big priority, or they're playing in person and just using it. There are people that play D&D with 4 laptops around a table, and they're all just looking at each other with laptops in front of them so they can see the game board. It's the thing. I I I the first time that I saw it, I kinda, like, clenched my butthole a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, that something about that feels really, really wrong.
that
What? Why?
feels I
Why?"
don't know.
And then
No.
I thought about it, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a fucking LAN party." That's all it is. It's a LAN party. You're sitting there, you all have your computers, you're all hanging out together, you're all playing the same game, talking to each other, and you're all engaged in meat space and in virtual space. And then it seemed a little it's not sacrilege, but I mean, you know, it took me a minute. I Riley is rebooting because um his face is blue screened. Yeah, it's just theater of the LAN. That's all it is.
Yeah, I did the fact that you brought it up in that language, in that way, I hate it and I love it at the same time.
Yep.
Fuck. The
Well, and is that worse to you than seeing it on your screen and seeing your friends on camera the way that we do it every week? Tell me it's worse. Because if you think about it, it's more personal. You got a lot more
Yeah,
opportunities to share snacks
nope.
and where are the
It's
Cheetos.
it's not worse, and that's why I fucking hate it.
You could technically roll dice in front of people.
You could roll the clickety clackety math rocks.
You could. You don't need a DM screen, which is sacrilege to me, but it is what it is.
Well, your computer's your fucking DM screen.
Exactly. You
God.
just use a VTT.
Okay,
Um,
sorry, before we continue, 1 to 3.
oh, yeah, I'm out too.
Oh. 1 to 3. You
1 to
I
1 to 5 for me.
5.
Oh, no, I'm still gonna roll.
Okay, fair enough.
Uh, this dice is gonna get wet. 7.
Oh fuck.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I went the opposite direction. I should have gone the other direction.
Be on number 2 for the night because, you know, probably got another 20 minutes or so. Is it always starts in a tavern, pub style amber ale by Analog Brewing. And
Nice light beer, a nice rouge beer, really, really nice.
Analog Brewing from Edmonton, Alberta. Looks like a 5.5%. Um, don't see a artist name on the can. I
There's
know that's not
probably not. Yeah.
always a standard, but for those that are watching on YouTube instead of on Spotify and Audible, I'll let that kind of frame in a little bit. It's all like 16-bit by the looks of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Very kind of
16-bit
chrono triggery.
worse, but yeah, it's a little simpler than that, but still good. Very Game Boy.
All
I'll
right.
give it Game Boy.
All right. You ready for this?
I'm ready for
You
this.
you ready for this?
Y'all ready for this? What do you got?
Sparklepuff!
Spark.
Galactic Starfighter, Defender of the Universe, exploring the realms of deep, dank space with the rules of three in its DNA. Sparklepuff launches with a payload of smashed summer peaches. Four cushions of fierce multi fluffy behind a force field of hops. Three times hot. Three, the hopped flavor, and thrice the aroma. The 10.2% alcohol per volume of this unfiltered adventure glimmers with the epic glory of Sparklepuff, Galactic Starfighter, Defender of the Universe.
They're not paying us, so you didn't have to go that hard. Just saying. That's that's fucking bitching. But look, you made your choice.
I made my choice.
You made your choice.
I made my
Is
choice.
is it always starts in a tavern, one of their standard beers?
It is, yes.
I'm just throwing it into our YouTube listing here.
I'm
Uh,
sorry that was a little extreme on the Sparklepuff, but as soon as I realized I rolled it, I was like, no, I have to fucking go all out on this
I like it.
fucking
No,
can.
I'm here for it.
The,
I missed the name of your goddamn beer in the middle of that though.
Sparklepuff.
Just
Sparklepuff is the
just
name of the
Sparkle
beer.
Puff.
Sparklepuff. This is by our friends at Flying Monkeys.
Oh,
Um,
they did one that I tried a little bit ago. Fuck, what is it? It is
was it
I,
Chocolate Manifesto?
that chocolate manifesto milk stout. It was it is weird.
Fucking good.
Um, they also had a what is it? Invictus. I tried
Yes.
Invictus, and that was all right. And Juicy Ass. I've had Juicy Ass by them,
Yes.
and everybody loves a good Juicy Ass.
Yes, they do. Three, two.
Oh, mine is cracked and poured.
Oh,
I've already gotten into it, but look at you being all professional with the ASMR.
I'm trying.
Yeah. A for effort.
Yeah.
B for
Um,
beer. C for cock. So the best
favorite dog.
so the best clip that I got out of Mac's whole arc
Yes.
uh for our D&D game there. Um aside from make me a blanket out of this owl bear was I must separate this man from his cock because you guys broke for 47 seconds and died on the floor. And I can't put that shit on YouTube because you laughed for too long. I need to split the video and speed it up as you're like rolling and throwing your headset across the room.
Yeah.
Just saying. I regret nothing, but, you know,
Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? That's okay. Holy shit, look at this. It looks like a fucking milkshake.
it well, I mean, I don't it's pretty thick.
That's thick.
It looks
That's
like what
thick
comes
with
out
at
of you.
least 2 C's.
That's that's 10%, 10.5%.
10.2%,
It's
yes.
made of fresh peach puree, according to their website. Pale malt, oat flakes, fermentation cycle 4, 8, and 12 days. I like it. I have to try some of that
This
sometime.
this is peaches and hops. It is thick, thick,
With no K's, just all C's at the end.
all C's. I do not know the letter K at this point. It is only
That is
C's.
that is not bad
That is a that
as
is a
a just
really nice.
random amber ale. I get I get a lot of um trad out of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
you know what?
a
That's
lot of
fair.
the same
That's
notes
fair.
that Big Rock puts in their trad or
That's fair.
their hogshead. Oddly enough, I get a little bit of the maltiness out of it. It's very similar. Nice and dark too.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can't see through this shit at all. It's great. That first one, yeah, yeah. That first beer may as well have been uh water for the
Oh,
opacity.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna have to throw this over to our YouTube chat for just a few
Hmm.
seconds here. First of all, Tyler, yes, peach is best fruit in beers. Period.
Mhm.
Fruly has nothing on this goddamn beer.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong. I like Fruly. It has nothing, absolutely nothing on this.
You know what Fruly is really good with
Hmm?
or good for? And it's a shame that the bottles are so small and they are so expensive because Fruly is a really expensive beer. But if you take 16 Frulies
Hmm.
and you upend them one at a time into a massive watermelon,
Yep.
and then you dump in probably 40 to 60 ounces of the cheapest hobo vodka that you can find.
Yes.
Or, well, go to Costco. You'll get Grey Goose vodka for Costco prices.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what Kirkland vodka is.
Yes.
Um, it makes for an excellent, like, boozy watermelon goodness. Or if you wanna go one
Um.
step further, you make a Yucca Flux.
Yes. If we're talking about strawberry beers, by the way, because Fruly just came up,
Mhm.
and we're on to our, we are definitely completely off tangent at this point. Um, our my favorite strawberry beer will be renamed Super Sonic Strawberry Wit by Fuggles.
Fuckles.
Not Fuggles and Warlock, Fuggles. Fuggles out in BC. Um, this is, it used to be called Fuggles and Warlock. That
Yeah.
used to be the name of the brewery. They've now
I've
changed to
I've had a bunch of
Fuggles.
Fuggles and Warlock.
Um,
Why did they
they
change?
because stories and reasons. I definitely worked for
Did
the
they break
company
their
at one point.
pact?
Not a story I can tell on air. No,
That's fair.
there was just some breakage and change and things like
Mhm.
that, and one of the people left and things like that. And
So
they
only
decided to do a
Fuggles
rebange.
remains. Look, sometimes
Actually,
you're Hootie, sometimes you're the Blowfish, sometimes you're the Fuggles, and sometimes you're the Warlocks.
technically only Warlock remains. Anyway,
Hmm,
but Fuggles makes for a damn good name for a brewery.
that is fair. I
But anyway,
I get
uh,
Fuggled up.
uh, Fuggles Supersonic Strawberry Wit,
Mhm.
the best strawberry beer. I do not care what the people who say that Fruly is better. They are wrong. I will fight you, Ken. Uh,
Uh, bring some Saturday if you're able to.
uh, it is not available in our province.
Son of a You know what? All right, gripe number 2. Gripe number 2,
Yep, yep,
Imma just
yep.
put this out this. Beer Fest, Calgary Beer Fest.
Mm.
You can fight me on this
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
if you
Go
need
ahead.
to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Beer Fest is not made for people to go to try beers and enjoy them. Beer Fest is a self-filleting, masturbatory exercise for people in the beer industry to hang out with their friends. Um,
Yes.
so,
Yes.
as an
Yes.
outsider going
Yes.
into Beer Fest, where they're like, "Here's an exorbitant amount of money for a very paltry amount of drink tickets," because the public going in, and I spend those drink tickets to get this much beer in a cup. And I'm like, "Oh, this is really good. Where can I buy this?" And they're like, "Nowhere. You lose, sir." It's like Willy Wonka at the end of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's like, "You get nothing because you can't buy this beer in your province. The sole reason we're here is to hang out with our friends and coax
Yep.
you into asking distributors to stock our product." And I'm like,
Yes.
"Fuck you, people. You are 100% worse than Grape Escape, where everything you taste can be purchased at your local co-op."
Come with me to
Oh,
Beer
I
Fest.
plan to. I
Yes.
plan to. That's fine, 'cause I still wanna drink the beers. It's just as a public, person going in, it is problematic.
Come with me. It's fine.
And you'll
I'll
be in a
show you the
world of your imagination.
secrets.
I like it. See, you went Willy Wonka, or I went Willy Wonka, and I felt like you were doing some Aladdin shit there
I
for a
was doing
second, and then
Aladdin shit. I was
then
100% doing Aladdin shit.
I see.
And then I fucked it up. I went
It's
to
all good.
I went a completely different restaurant because I realized you went Willy Wonka, and then I was like, "Wait."
It's okay to homebrew. It's okay to homebrew. You don't have to attribute to any proprietary Disney things. It's
No,
fine.
it's very, very, it's you know what? It's very true.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't think we're out of topics, but I think we've gone off tangent long
Yeah.
enough.
So I'm gonna pull back the VTT thing quick because the big
Ooh.
thing I wanted to address is like um they're useful tool, not the face of the hobby, as much as some digital platform managers would really hope it would be. Very useful tool. And I want to call out some actually good VTTs that people probably haven't heard of before. So,
Okay.
um, so Owlbear Rodeo, you ever used? One of the friends of the channel, she does some of the artwork and some of the maps. GM of Revan, she does incarnate work. You should Google her. She does good stuff. Um, she uses Owlbear Rodeo for
Are we
some of
gonna
her
put
own
our
stuff.
links in the doobly doos?
I could probably find her. I don't know if she's got her. Oh yeah, her incarnate is here. I think she uses Reddit as well for stuff, but I'll throw her in the I'll throw her in the YouTube chat. Um, so she does map making. Goes by Nadine, and uh, has played some D&D with us in the past. Uh, Prefers to use Owlbear Rodeo for a lot of stuff because it's a really really simple VTT system.
Okay.
And I if I didn't already have um so much within Roll20, Owlbear Rodeo is basically the perfect setup.
Oh, they do, they do those 3D maps.
Yeah. So you can do 3D
Oh.
maps, but you can essentially dump in. It's really really good if you're not familiar with Fantasy Grounds. If you just wanted to have a map that you shared on a TV, Owlbear Rodeo is really really useful for that. You can save sessions and stuff like that, and there's a bunch of stuff that you can do with it. But it's basically just the map section of Wonder Draft thrown into a virtual tabletop. Not
Right.
all the options, and like it's not a rip off or a clone or anything. Like they took their own time and did their own art and stuff. But it's really solid. So and it's the big thing, it's free. And if you have a problem with like bigger corporations making money, like Roll20 is not a huge corporation. Like they they're not making hand over fist money the majority of the time. Um, but or Likewise, Foundry. Foundry is not
Yeah.
making hand over fist style money. Um,
Yeah.
Another one is above VTT. So
Mhm.
above VTT is just a Chrome extension. So you can take your D&D Beyond campaign page that has all the information that you use. That's that's primarily more for people that use D&D Beyond. That's not me. I I really dislike the product that they have there and the layout. The character sheet annoys me because I like the paper character sheets and stuff. Because
I
I'm a crotchety old fucking man.
I get lost on it constantly. Believe you me, I like my game I play with my friends who I mentioned earlier, who are wonderful people, and I absolutely love them.
Mhm.
Wow, that's sarcastic, and I'm very sorry about that. They're actually wonderful people, and I absolutely love playing games with them. But
Mhm.
anyway, um, we use Beyond Roll. Oh,
Sorry, D&D Beyond or Beyond 20?
oh, D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
There it is.
We use that for the character sheets,
Mhm.
just because we have a lot of stuff going on. I get lost because I'm an artificer wizard. There are so many things.
Yeah. I I like having the option of a paper character sheet, and that's one of the reasons that Roll20 still gets my money is because I have a character sheet in front of me that I can modify every single aspect of.
Mm,
And one of the things that D&D Beyond turned me off on, we did a year-long West Marches game. Tracy, Nadine, myself, a couple of folks in our Discord, where we had like 40 players and like 5 or 6 DMs, and you sign up and we run through games using Discord
yeah.
to do the majority of the planning and roll 20 for stuff. Um Tracy's husband got a magical axe that I had homebrewed on some stuff, and I'm like, I need a D12 weapon that does piercing damage, and here I need to add a bunch of abilities to it and make it a homebrew thing. D&D Beyond wouldn't let me make a D12 weapon that did piercing damage that wasn't a lance. At the time. I don't know honestly if it's
It,
changed.
it feels like that has changed a bit, but that's
Maybe.
fair.
But they're like, "Cool, it's a weapon. What kind of weapon is it?" You have to choose from the base SRD of which weapon this is gonna be based on, and it has all of those properties, and I'm like, "No, I just need to change the damage type, leave me alone." And it wasn't intuitive to do it, and when I hit the forums, they're like, "Yeah, that's a thing that occurs. You just gotta ignore all of the extra special properties on the thing," and I'm like, "I shouldn't have to do that, so I'm not going to."
Yeah.
But it's one of those things.
Yeah.
But, uh So above VTT is essentially just a combat tracker,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So
Neat.
you can use everything from your D&D Beyond sheet. Um, you can throw it onto a map page. You can have access to everything that pulls from your character sheets. It's a really simple alternative to something like Roll20 or Foundry or anything like that. Um, the big boon for that kind of thing is it integrates with Beyond 20, which can take your D&D Beyond stuff and put it into other VTTs.
Puts it
But
into roll 20, in which is what we use.
yeah, in this case with above VTT, the best use case for it is people that use Chromebooks. Like if you're a 14-year-old kid and you don't have a lot of money kicking around and you're trying to play with your friends and you've got $100 kicking around for a like last gen Chromebook from Best Buy. Um, Above VTT is just a Chrome extension and it works on Chromium and
Ooh.
it runs exclusively through the browser and it's not intensive. Now, D&D Beyond is okay as well. Roll20 and Foundry take a fair bit of processing power.
They do,
Like
especially if you start using shadows and things like that.
the bloat is real and you can turn that stuff off. It's not a big
Oh, yeah.
deal, but you know, above VTT is really really good for that. Um Tailspire obviously like
You need a
Tailspire.
PC for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, Schmeppy. Schmeppy is
Schmeppy.
uh, it Schmeppy has a monthly subscription that I'm not convinced is worth it at this point because it's basically a dry erase mat. It's Schmeppy is like $5 a month, and it's it's fine.
It's it's as
It
if you just put a dry erase board on the wall and you're just like,
Yeah.
this is your guys' grid.
It's fine. Um, Schmeppy, the best use case I can think of is if you're exclusively playing on a phone or a very small tablet. Schmeppy could be good for that kind of thing,
That's
right?
fair.
Like if you're sitting at a small card table with your friends and your map is going to be like an iPad in front of you in the middle of the
That
thing,
makes sense.
and you wanted to have a map, and already having the map downloaded and like moving zooming in and out wasn't really going to be your thing, you could use Schmeppy for things.
That makes
Um,
sense.
it's it's fine. We'll say it's fine.
Well, with that, we're gonna end with Schmeppy saying it's fine.
That's
And it's a fine end to this episode, I think.
I think so. I still have a fair bit of this. It
Well,
starts in the tavern to get through, but we'll
believe
deal
you
with that
me.
off camera.
Oh, believe you me, I've got plenty of Sparklepuff. We opened these a little late.
Yeah, that'll be all right. We started a little late. We were
And
trying to do
hey,
a session 0 for our next, campaign for Tales from the Loop, so
yeah. But hey, you know what? We got some exciting stories to tell, and we got some really cool things coming up. And you
yeah.
know what? I'm really excited about our oh god, what did you call it? It is our no
Indentured Adventures.
indentured adventures.
Adventures. So we are starting on Monday,
Bleh.
stepping away a little bit from the D&D fantasy realm of Naylor, and we're getting a little space age. Uh, if you've ever played games like Mass Effect or Outer Worlds or things like that, Indentured Adventures might be right up your alley.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, it's it's reskinned 5e because it's something that the folks coming into it know pretty intimately well. We're going to be running a 3 episode arc. We had to go a little bit longer with Max because some folks were sick. Um, but the long and short of it is corporations run everything. You're an indentured servant to the corporations. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Uh, Filling out your drudgery and taking on drastically dangerous sorts of tasks to try and pay down your ever growing debt. Um, Therefore, you have a reason to adventure because the money's on your side.
Hey,
Uh,
Eugene O'Hare's got his claim in there somewhere.
that reminds me, I got a drudgery job from Ken. I have to talk to you about what your day to day drudgery is going to be, and but yeah, I think we can probably call it there for the night.
I think we can.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Thank you everybody for stopping by. We'll Our regularly scheduled um stream will be Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can find us at youtube.com/at symbol Legends of Logomancy. The podcast format for this one will be up, oh, I don't know, in a couple of days, give or take. It's currently February 9th. We've got another episode of Roll for Beer scheduled for next week. Normally, we don't do them that fast, but I'm going to go lay on a beach in Mexico for a while. So we're going to record one ahead of time. So,
Woo!
you can catch us here Thursday night next week around 9 p.m., depending
9
on
p.m.-ish.
how long people take to do things and how long it takes for me to get my children to sleep.
Exactly.
But thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
so much,
I
everybody.
If you're not like subscribed on the YouTubes, please go ahead and do so in the doobly doo. Like the video, it lets us know that you like what we're doing. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them on the live here. It lets us know which direction to go in. So Thanks very much, everybody, and you have yourself a good night.
See you
Good night.
guys. Bye.